So on transport, just on any scheme we look at, the key incentive, what we're trying to do is have a London Plan compliant scheme, which is 10% blue badge parking only. So it's very much trying to encourage people to walk and cycle and use public transport. As part of the wider opportunity area, there will be facilities that come forward that will encourage people to stay on site, so not travel, not drive the car. So what we've been doing with RBKC and TfL is looking at where people travel to, why they're travelling and how they travel, and where they will travel to in the future, because it's not just about today, we're talking 10, 20, 30 years in the future. So we've done, along with Baltimore and Sainsbury's, they've done the same routes. We've visited primary schools, secondary schools, GPs, shops.
Sorry, can I go back? What is that blue route there?
So that's a future, well, it's an existing route to future potential HS2 stations.
What do you mean a future route?
An auto path.
So how do they get across the canal if there's no bridge?
That's Harrow Road.
There is a bridge across there.
So what we've done is look at the census data of how people travel and what kind of modes of transport they're looking at. A couple of cycle parking spaces per home. It's got 10% blue badge parking only. We've designed a scheme that's relying on people to walk, cycle and use buses. But in terms of vehicles on your network that you see today, half of them are residents arriving and coming home. This is just St William, so I'm acting on behalf of St William.
Where did you get it?
From the census. So when you fill in the census, this is all public data.
When was the census done?
2011.
Oh my God.
The answer in 2021 is no different to that.
Are you right? Have you come up here tonight?
We don't believe you. We live here. We don't believe you. Well, that's a blatant lie.
Could you just recap? This is existing or projected, and this is for the general area or for the site?
It's projected for the St William site only, based on what St William will provide in terms of cycle parking and car parking.
And based on the 2011 census?
Yes, and projected to then what the development is.
One quick clarification about the parking. Did you say there's no parking there apart from disabled parking?
Yes.
So basically, whoever's in those blocks would not be expected to own a car.
But then they'll be entitled to residence space.
So in terms of the site coming forward, alongside the Ballymore application, the pink lines shown on the Ballymore master plan is their two-way road layout, which runs through the site until you get to the Sainsbury's car park at the southwestern end of the site. The blue lines, that is a smaller road, which would be sort of more for access only and for buses projected to go around the Sainsbury's, sort of loop around until it gets back to the two-way section of the site.
So Sainsbury's is at the eastern end of this site.
Yes, so the Ballymore scheme
is to the west of
Sainsbury's
the
is
site.
that big block on the southwest.
The current data, rather than using 10, 15-year-old data from a census. But not rocket science to count cars going into that site, is it? Why couldn't you provide accurate information about traffic movement as it currently stands?
Yeah.
So again, in the Ballymore master plan layout, so this is how the site would work in terms of bus movements. So the buses would come in off of the Ladbroke Grove Canalway junction and then would loop around the site, stopping at stops that would be adjacent to the Sainsbury's, loop around the Sainsbury's, about 235 metres from the St William site, and then loop around and continue back towards the Ladbroke Grove Canal.
Where's 52?
And a 316.
So these bus stops are what we have taken from the Ballymore application and the information.
We have done a full study, but we're describing where the bus routes go. The bus numbers go on those routes.
Ballymore said that they were looking at some of them going. I'll go through it. I would just like to...
There's a lot of discussion with TfL on the number of buses, where the buses go, which ones are going to run. Those conclusions, no one's decided on planning application yet. So the number of buses, the frequency, haven't been agreed yet. What we're saying is that these are where the routes will go. We don't think there'll be any reduction in the number of buses. It's likely actually there'll be far more buses.
So sorry, what's happened to the 52 route and the 70 on that previous slide?
No, he just
It's not there.
What's the explanation?
That whole thing is still under discussion with Ballymore.
And TfL and bus operator. So there's no intention from St William to remove any bus services.
You can't have a slide showing the bus routes, but routes that are...
We were showing where the bus routes will go, not the bus numbers. There's no intention to reduce the number of buses or remove bus routes from St William.
Be 10,000 people, new residents living there.
And your traffic estimates will be all off if you're not including 3 whole bus routes.
Sorry, are you deliberately leaving off 52 and 70 and other bus routes because of...
I've already answered the question.
I think just be really, really clear that the bus services will be determined by Transport for London. So Transport for London deal with buses. We don't have the ability to say it's that bus or another bus. They will, through the negotiations that we will have with Transport for London, they will tell us how many buses they think are needed to serve our development and the Ballymore development. We're not worried about what the number of the services at the moment. There will be an adequate bus service. We will have to pay for that, but there will be bus services that will be adequate for all the number of new homes that will be delivered on this development. But that will be determined by Transport for London.
For those people that live at the north of this site, there isn't a bus route that we can understand.
I think it's based on the Ballymore application, just showing the bus routes, not which services are, just showing how the buses will circulate.
Why are you using this if it belongs to Ballymore? You shouldn't be commenting on it, surely.
We're trying not to comment.
We can comment on a live planning application because that's what's shown and that's in the public domain. Now this is something that we assume that Ballymore have been discussing with Transport for London, because we've had conversations with Transport for London and this is what they're saying will be the bus routes through the site. So we can only assume that's correct because Transport for London, as I said, are the ones that deal with the buses. They're responsible for the bus network. So just be really clear, we don't control how many buses come from this site. We will pay for them, but it will be determined by Transport for London.
So this, again, being the final slide showing the site in relation to the Ballymore master plan in terms of the walking and cycling routes coming in and out of the site.
We're talking about cycling, we're walking by the canal, you're going to encourage all these people not to have cars. You obviously have never cycled by the canal, because during rush hour on the canal, if you encouraged people to walk there, that would be a health hazard. It's already insanely busy by the canal. And to have 10,000 more people without cars, the road is blocked already with the buses. I mean, this is just delusional, frankly.
And this St William by itself coming forward, we would take access from Canal Way, be a separate application. The proposal for that is to bring forward Canal Way as a 6.3 metre wide road, which is big enough for 2 buses to pass, big enough for 2 HGVs to pass.
What about pedestrians along there?
So I'm going to get to it. So we're going to have a 3.5 metre shared footway cycleway on the north. And the proposal for Canal Way is to bring in some public art, some lighting, some landscapes, some seating areas along the length of it. And here's some visualisations of how that's been proposed. Also been designed by our engineering team. We've spoken to TfL about taking buses down it, which is a comfortable solution. So, and St William by itself, the proposal that we're discussing with TfL, and I think we've got some support from TfL for that, to introduce and the standalone scheme without Ballymore. The bus would come down Canal Way, go round the block, and have a bus stop, a bus stand, accessible bus stop so people with mobility issues can have a stand with information that's available. That's the current route that TfL is discussing. It doesn't mean there won't be other routes. That bus runs every 9 to 12 minutes, so say 10. It also runs 24 hours a day. We are doing a cumulative assessment of the traffic that's coming forward. And it's already been submitted as part of the Ballymore application that St William will submit one which is as well. The proposal for the Labrador Canal Way Thames Road Junction to move the mini roundabout to balance traffic better. So at the moment, being in the mini roundabout, you have to give way to the right. So if you balance it with the signals, then you control the traffic better. You can also prioritise pedestrians and cross those roads safely, comfortably, in accordance with TfL and the London plan. So this design is relatively supported by TfL. It's not to say it's been signed off. This is what St William will deliver.
With regards to construction management, construction vehicles, this will all
need to be agreed with the local authority as part of our planning application and getting the planning permission. There will be designated working hours for the site. There will be designated hours whereby deliveries for the construction material can be delivered to the site. We estimate a maximum of 40 construction vehicles per day to be visiting the site, and as is best practice, and will be kept clean using wheel washing, and we're, for example, at our White City living development, only a sort of kilometre and a half south from here, provide regular resident updates with regard to programme, any noisy works upcoming and the durations of those.
Because you'll be using the canal, will you, to take in and out?
We will explore it. I can't stand here today and commit to be able to using that as a method of...
Will you only be using the Kensington and Chelsea areas for the transport in and out, or are you crossing into Brent and Westminster?
No, the routes, I mean, given where the site is located and the requirement for our construction vehicles to access the major road networks, they will be also travelling into Brent and Westminster.
Then would it be true to say that you should also agree those routes with the other local authorities who are, after all, party to this development and are affected by it? So if we've got 30 construction vehicles and your lorries with 3 prefab bathrooms, with the sprawl coming out of the one exit, all going down the Harrow Road, not to mention your vehicles with contaminated waste, people in Brent will object very, very vocally.
I live on Albee Road, so I know exactly where the trucks come in and out, because we had problems with Westminster and that road rumbled. We have had to resurface twice. Because of the construction, the size of the trucks, it is awful. And we have no way to get away from that because it is a main TfL route. There's absolutely no getting away from it. I would also like to say that the construction sites coming in and out, I have a current crime reference number against one of the truck drivers because he ignored the give way sign and nearly took me out. He stuck 2 fingers up at me. He then harassed me in the supermarket for well over half an hour before the police turned up. So I really am objecting to the amount of trucks coming in and out when there's a live crime reference number going on.
But this is only 40 construction vehicles for your site. If the Baltimore site, they're going to be constructing at the same time that this is going on, and theirs is a much bigger site. So 40 plus, let's triple it for them because it's a bigger site. And say over an 8-hour day, 160 trucks or more over an 8-hour day trying to get through that junction with everything else that goes on through that junction, buses, Sainsbury's, shoppers.
You have to think of a better way of getting these trucks in and out.
But that's really going to work.
There's also Brent is about to...
To knew this, whatever large site you have, there's going to be an issue with construction sites. You have a canal running through the centre that could be used and is often used in those circumstances, but you've chosen not to.
All of the gasworks sites were particularly sited near canals or rivers and railways.
We will absolutely explore using that as a route of construction.
Why haven't you already? Come on.
Well, it's the basic start of a building principle is to find out how you can get in and out with your material.